Good evening, respected Rotary Club dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank the organizers for the opportunity to speak on the gift of sight. This year, the theme of World Sight Day is Love Your Eyes, corresponding to our topic of discussion today. Why do we need to love our eyes? Where does its uniqueness stand? Shakespeare says, the eyes are the window to our soul. They are not only the window to our soul, but to our health and general well-being as well. Contrary to the popular belief, many systemic diseases can be diagnosed by a well-executed eye examination. Before moving on to the mishaps of the diseased eye, it is best that we run through the form and functionality of a healthy one. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you see here on the slide, this is actually a cross-section of the eye, starting from the front here, right up to the back. So here we have a structure called the cornea. Then we have the lens. Then we have the retina. And this is the optic nerve, which brings the impulses, the visual impulses or the light impulses to the brain to be interpreted, and so that we can see, we can understand what we see. So this cornea is actually a very transparent, this is a transparent structure in the eye. It allows the ray of light into the eye. And here we have a small opening, okay, a small opening called the pupil, which actually controls the amount of light into the eye. And just behind the pupil, this white structure is actually known as the crystalline lens. You would have heard about cataract. So this is the structure which gets cloudy in cataract. So the function of this structure is actually to focus the light onto the retina. And this is the most sensitive. The retina is the most sensitive part in the eye. It is only about 2 millimeters less than that thickness, but it contains a lot of layers, which actually converts the light impulses into some chemical impulses, and which is neurotransmitted to the brain. Okay, so actually, when the image falls on the eye, it's actually upside down, but as it gets into the brain, it's changed back into the normal, and then that's why we see everything like straight. So you have to understand that we need a proper coordination between the eyes and the brain for us to see clearly. Okay, so actually we are seeing through the brain, actually not the eye. The eye just projects the light to the brain, which interprets what we see. Okay. The intricate workings of the eye has always been a wonder. Let me walk you through some little known facts about the eyes. Okay. The most complex organ in our body is actually the brain. So the eye is the second most complex organ in our body. If the human eyes was a digital camera, it would have 576 megapixels. So, isn't it awesome? You can distinguish about 10 million different colors, and your eyes can focus on around 50 things at a time. And we have to remember, 80% of what we learn is through our eyes. So the root of information. So this is very, very important. No doubt our eyes is such a delicate, such a small, minute structure, but its function is enormous. So the root of infection, the visual root of information, it's about 83%. But when you see the other, through the hearing, through the smell, through the tactile or touch, and through the taste, it's all just like 0.3, 0.1. But when you look at the eye, it's about 83%. That means most of the things what we learn is actually through the eyes. So a good vision is vital. It means to create memories, to make, whenever you smile, whenever you cry, it helps to capture the moments, swipe to recall the times of our eyes where there are for us. And also, you have heard this phrase that you eat with your eyes first. So that means when a dish is served, our eyes pick up the visual cues from the dish to signal its perceived taste, aroma, and flavor. And next comes that when we travel, we see a lot of things, everything is registered in our mind through the eye. Another one is when we fall in love. Okay, I'll get back to that later. Okay, so why did I say that when you fall in love? Okay, we have found that the pupil of your eye expands as much as 45% when you look at someone you love. Isn't that amazing? Okay. And then the only part in our body that has no blood is the cornea. So earlier I showed you the cornea is the most anterior, the front of the eye, where it allows the light rays to get into the eye. So that structure is actually, there's no blood supply. So how does it survive? It survives through the oxygen. It absorbs the oxygen from the atmosphere. It dissolves in our tears and then directly into the cornea. So the cornea gets most of its nutrients from the atmosphere. And remember, the cornea is a very, very important structure because that's the first structure which allows the ray of light into the eye. So if anything goes wrong with the cornea, naturally the quality of light entering into your eyes will be reduced. So the image which falls onto the retina is also distorted. So you don't get 100% vision. Okay. And another interesting is the human eyeball weighs only about 1 ounce. Can you believe it? Okay. And the only cells that survive from the time you are born until death is actually in your eyes. Okay. And each of them contains about 107 million cells, all of which are light sensitive. So such a small structure, just 1 ounce, less than an ounce. But can you see the enormous things the eye is doing, capable of doing? And there's a phrase, in the blink of an eye. What do you mean? Why do they say that? Okay, because your eye has the fastest and the most active muscles in your body. Okay, so when you're looking at this slide, most of us would have blinked at least 5 to 6 times. Okay, it's just within that 5 seconds. Okay, which adds up to the exhausting 6.5 million times in a year. Eyes keeps blinking. So the muscle that controls this movement is the fastest and the most active muscle in the body. Okay, it's not your hand muscle, arm muscles, your legs, whatever muscles, it's actually in your eyes. Okay, so let's look at some eye problems now. Okay, now lately, superimposed by this current pandemic, staring and scrolling digital screens is not only a mean to pass time. It is the norm. It is the new norm. Norm for education, norm for meetings, both social and professional, entertainment, and of course, shopping. Without noticing it, we tend to spend hours on end glued to our device, so much so that in the medical field, now we have coined a new term, a pathology has arisen that is known as digital eye strain or digital eye disease, DES in short. Okay, so a recent study, this survey was done actually in Malaysia, shows most of us spend about 14 hours a day with these gadgets. Either it's your handphone, your laptop, your computer, whatsoever of these electronic gadgets. Okay, and 87% of them are internet servers. And why? What happened because of this? 75%, about 75% of them suffer from DES, that is the digital eye strain or digital eye disease. What's more interesting, if you see here, is when we talk about the pediatric, 32% of the kids continuously use the device without taking a break. Okay, so to put mildly, this is extremely worrying. Did you know that we normally blink about 20 times a minute? On the other hand, an average computer user only blinks about 7 times. So what happens? The eye becomes dry and tired, because by blinking, actually it distributes the tear layer on the surface, the ocular, the eye surface, to keep your eyes moist and comfortable most of the time. So that is, the tears are the barrier in between your eyelid and your cornea. So if there's no any lubricant in between these two structures, naturally the eyelid will rub against the cornea and it will cause a lot of problems. Numerous eye problems can be caused by this dry and tired eyes. Okay, so how to avoid this? Now, we cannot run away from this. Okay, we spend most of the time now during this pandemic, okay, like this. Because of this pandemic, now the meetings, this kind of meetings, teachings, everything has to be carried on online. Not only that, so for people like us who have to prepare the slides, we too spend hours in front of this computer. No choice. But remember, there's always a solution. Okay, so how to avoid the eye strain? Okay, there's a term called computer ergonomics. Have you all heard about this before? Okay, what does it say? Okay, basically, it's that your position when you sit in front of the computers. We don't pay much importance to all this, actually, but actually all this affects. So there is a level, your eye level to the monitor, the way your posture, how you're seated, your back, your leg posture, how's your foot, your feet, how do you put your feet on the floor, and how you play around with the mouse. Okay, all this affects. So you have to have a proper computer ergonomics to prevent any complication. And now survey has been done and they have found that the rule of 20, 20, 20, 20. What do you mean by this rule of 20, 20, 20? Okay, that means every 20 minutes, you're sitting in front of the computer, take a 20-second break and you look at 20 feet away. This is to actually relax the muscles, because when you are looking near, your muscles are actually contracting. Okay, your ciliary muscles all contracting. So it gets very tired and very painful, especially when we are at the age of 40 and above, where we have developed this presbyopia, we call it natural, because the muscles in the eye and because of the lens becomes a bit lax, we develop this kind of presbyopia. So we need reading glasses. On top of it, if we don't follow these rules, definitely we are going to get tired. That's why most of them, after sitting or sitting for some time in front of the computer, you feel very sleepy, you feel tired, you feel your eyes are burning, and so on and so forth. So these are the methods which has been found to be very effective to reduce the effect of this digital eye strain. Okay, and your computers, why we stress so much on these electronic gadgets, are because they emit something called the blue ray, the blue light. So that is what we have found, it's actually damaging. Okay, blue light does not only damage the eye, but it actually affects your brain and your body as well. So many of us, okay, we have this habit of playing with us, surfing the internet, or WhatsApp, reading the WhatsApp, or going through the Facebook while lying down in the dark room. Dark room does not affect much of your eyesight. Okay, when our forefathers and all, they said, okay, don't read in the dark, it can affect your eyes. Actually, it's not because of that. It's because of the posture of the way you hold your handphone and whatnot. It actually affects. So because there is a kind of a hormone in our body which is known as melatonin. So when we are exposed to this prolonged exposure to this blue light, actually reduces this melatonin. So what is the function of this melatonin in our body? It actually promotes sleep. It puts us to sleep. Okay. But when we go on staring, or this is not like the immediate effect. This is prolonged. Okay. It takes years probably, okay, for this blue light to affect. So your sleep cycle, it will be disturbed. Okay, and then it also can disrupt your appetite, okay, sort of increase your appetite and then promote obesity. Okay, and you can see the slide here, which I've shown, I've highlighted here, is how the mobile phone radiation penetrates the brain in a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, and adult. Okay, it's all because of the skull thickness. So this, you can see the radiation, how it spreads from the mobile phone to a 5-year-old, then to a 10-year-old, and to our adults. Okay, so this is all chronic, it's all prolonged. It's not like you're exposed 1-2 days and you develop all this. Okay. Okay, how many of us know that our gadgets, we have something called the dark mode? So my sincere advice, please switch to your dark mode. It actually helps. It reduces your eye strain and it helps the eye symptoms. Okay. Did you all know that adequate rest can assist in eyesight improvement? Because how? Sleep. It allows your overworked eye muscles to relax completely. But your eyes does not sleep, but the muscles around it goes to rest. Okay. So sleep is very, very important for a healthy eye. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to another common eye problem, that is the trauma. I've just been given about half an hour, so I have to sort of put everything together. So I just like to highlight important facts, because I don't want to go into details of each diseases. I think most of us, we have already heard about all that. So I didn't want to bore you all with that. So I just want to highlight the uniqueness of our eye, okay, so that you will learn to know more, learn more about it, and you learn to love our eyes. Okay, so the next common problem is trauma. Okay, how many of you all think that this eye injury is more of outdoor, is because of outdoor activity? Okay, it is a common misconception that most ocular trauma happens outdoor. You'll be surprised to know that the predominant cause are domestic. Yes, you did hear me right. Even more surprising is the prevalence among ladies, owing to what? Cosmetic use. How? Okay, can you all guess which cosmetic causes the most eye problems, like a corneal abrasion or dryness, ocular surface disorder? Yes, if you had guessed, yes, mascara. Okay, this is the culprit which causes most eye injury in a women. So women out there, please be very careful. Okay, and how many of the women out there know that eye makeup too has expiry dates? Because I have patients. All the slides are actually through my experience. I've compiled that. So many of them, when I ask, they come with allergic eye problems, dry eyes, redness, grittiness. Okay, so when I ask them a proper history, they tend to sort of, they don't know that most of the eye makeup, they have expiry dates. They keep on using that over and over for years. Okay, and they keep changing the brands, which is not very healthy. All the more if you have allergic problem, you have to use some hypoallergenic products. Okay, so these are the other culprits, because all these are chemicals. They claim, some can be claimed, they can claim as organic, but prolonged chronic, these are all foreign body, foreign to the eye. So naturally you will develop some kind of problems in the long run. Okay, so now let me move on. Elaborate diseases which can cause blindness that are very much preventable. So I'm sure most of you would have heard about cataract. Okay, I'm sure most of you all would have, few of you all would have undergone the cataract surgery as well. Okay, so those who have undergone the cataract surgery, they can actually, if the surgery was uneventful, they can actually appreciate the difference between before and after. So this is just a slide to show that how a normal eye looks and how a cataract eye looks. Okay, so cataract, even a newborn child can have cataract, a congenital cataract. Okay, you can have developmental cataract, a young juvenile cataract. Okay, But most common in Malaysia are cataracts because of senile, aging, or diabetic, okay, or misuse of drugs. Because many of us, we have the habit of just going to a pharmacy over the counter. We buy some eye drops just to keep our eyes comfortable and so on. Probably we have some dry eyes or tired eyes, so we just buy over the counter. And mind you, in Malaysia, steroid eye drops, we don't have any sort of akta to sort of control that. So the pharmacies are free to use steroid eye drops. So these steroid eye drops are the culprits. Okay, so which can cause, one of the commonest cause, the side effects of prolonged chronic steroid use is cataract. Okay, and the next one is glaucoma. This is also can be steroid induced. Okay, glaucoma. And mind you, 50% of the people who have this problem, they know about it. Unfortunately, most of them, another 50%, do not know, because this disease doesn't have symptoms, early symptoms. Okay, and it's also known as the silent sight killer. Okay, but it is preventable. I'll come later on how to prevent all this. Okay, now this is an information for all the gentlemen out there. Okay, Rotarian Surrender, I see your nice tie. Okay, so make sure your tie is not very tightly there. Loosen up. Okay, because according to research, if you tie a tie too tightly, it increases the risk of glaucoma in men. Too tight a knot can increase the pressure in your eye, which is a leading risk of obtaining this disease. Okay, gentlemen, for those who don't know about this, please be aware. Okay, the next commonest disease is in Malaysia. The headache for ophthalmologists is this diabetic eye disease. As you all know, in Malaysia, I think 1 in 4 is like a diabetic already. Okay, and most of them are in denial. Okay, they say, I don't have symptoms. I don't have, I don't frequently urinate. I don't have excessive hunger. I don't have excessive thirst. I don't lose my weight. I just feel fine. But actually, all these are misconception. Okay, those who have family history of diabetes, please go for early screening. That's what we want. Okay, and now most of the medical practitioners, once they diagnose somebody, a newly diagnosed, they have to immediately refer them to the eye specialist to get at least an early eye assessment, a baseline. Okay, no more we wait until, oh, the patient complains, I have this, I can't see this, I can't read. No, prevention, that is the 4P, which will I come later. The 4Ps, we are going to talk about it later. So we want prevention, because this is actually a preventable blindness. But globally, this happens to be the main cause of blindness, unfortunately. Very, very sad. Okay, next we go on to we have discussed about the adults. Now let us discuss about the pediatric, that is the Cahaya Mata age group. Okay, Cahaya Mata. Okay, so the common problem now we are facing among pediatric, the children age group, is progressing myopia. Myopia means short-sightedness. Why? Because clearly shows as in the slide. Okay, we as parents, okay, start these kids very early in life because we are too busy. You go to the restaurant, you see the whole family sitting there, but everybody busy playing with their own gadgets. Okay, just to keep the baby or a toddler occupied so that they don't disturb you. You can have a peaceful dinner. They just put on the iPad or whatever, play Barney or cartoons or something. Okay, if they are having dinner for there for 2 hours, sometimes the child will be sitting there 2 hours just glued onto that thing. So whose mistake is this? Who is to be blamed? I don't know. I'm as a parent also, sometimes I also feel guilty, but what to do? We need our space. We need me time. Okay. So 5 common eye condition among toddlers. Basically, it's allergies. Okay. Allergies, conjunctivitis, amblyopia. Amblyopia means lazy eyes. These are the children which they have some refractive error. They could be far-sighted, short-sighted, or they may have astigmatism, but goes undiagnosed, or sometimes gets picked up by the teachers at the Taska or the Tadika. But when they come to the parents, they feel, oh, it's too early. He's just a small kid. Why should why should he go and check his eyes? So this is another misconception. And this is the problem which I face with a lot of parents. Okay. Then we have strabismus, that is dueling, that is the squint. Okay, so this also, if we see in child, you have to refer to the eye specialist immediately. And because there are serious conditions behind this squint, it could be a cataract, it could be, worst thing, it could be a retinoblastoma, could be a cancer of the retina. Okay. And studies abroad they have done, and they find that 76% of these children, they haven't had comprehensive eye exam by the age of 5. But actually, by that age, you should have at least had about 3 examinations. So you have to start like at the 6 month, at 3 years, and 5 years. Okay, this is abroad. Malaysia, I think that's worse. Probably it's 99%. Okay. So as I told you, the parents' misconception. Okay, why I should take my child and go? They're so young. For what? They won't have any problem. So no, they are not too young. Okay, it's not too early. What is the suitable age for an eye checkup? Is taking your child for an eye checkup too early? No, not at all. Okay, so you have to understand these children. See, 1 in 4 of these children, they don't do well in studies. 20% of them, they don't do well in studies because of vision problem. Okay, like for a child, it's either a vision problem or either a hearing problem, which goes undetected. Okay, so these 2 problems. So if your child is not doing well in studies, it's not stupid, it's not a slow learner. Okay, before you could brand him as a slow learner or a child who's not so, a low IQ or whatever, please take them for a proper eye checkup and ear checkup. And now in our Malaysian setup, okay, the child is actually tested when it goes to standard 1. Of course, they do the eye screening as well as the dental screening. In our base, they have got 3 schools here. So normally we have the teachers, we have trained the teachers or the nurses. They go and do the screening and they pick up these children. Okay, most of the time they will give a letter to the parents and tell them, please take this child. But what happens? It just stops there. The parents denial again. Okay, so don't do this. Okay, because if you're going to do this to your child, the whole future is gone. The whole future is gone. If she's, if because of the eyesight, you're already going to limit her activities, limit her progress. So please don't do this. Okay, and then feel guilty later on. It'll be too late, because you have to understand this child, the brain, the visual pathway, the development, by 8 or 9 years old, it stops. So we have to catch the children before that, at least by year 7 or so. That's why we have these programs where they are screened at standard 1. Okay, so at least we have some time to intervene and do some kind of treatment to restore the vision back. If we lose that boat, we miss that boat at the age of 9, above 8, 9, sorry lah, that's where the amblyopia sets in, means lazy eyes. So your eyes will look normal, but there's the brain shuts down already. The part of the vision shuts down there. So we cannot improve the eyesight beyond that. It's too late. Okay. Another question, one of the most popular questions asked to me as a doctor is, what can I consume to keep my eyes healthy? So these are the people who already develop eye problem. Then they come to me and then they want to ask me. I think it's a bit too late. I just tell them that I think it's a bit too late. All this you should have started earlier. Okay, like the superfood for the optimal eye health. Okay, once you already develop the diabetic eye disease or some kind of chronic disease, there's no use of taking all this then. It's probably because we want all these things to prevent. So the basic thing is you need a lot of vitamin C, you need a lot of vitamin B, carotenoids, vitamin A, antioxidants, omega-3. Basically, these are the things you need. And like vegetables, if you ask me, the red pepper, broccoli, basically all of these are actually antioxidants, because they are very good for the retinal cells to compound the toxins and to replenish the whatever retinal cells and so on, to protect them. Okay. Okay, this is another optic, just how we, just a slide to show one of the many amazing optical illusions. Okay, when we look at this slide, okay, there is two. There's a object in the center there. So when you see, you can see like two colors. The topmost, it's darker than the lowermost. But actually, it's what happens. What happens when you put your finger across the line, the demarcation line? Can you all just try? See what happens? What do you see now? Do you see the difference? Okay, so the whole thing becomes dark gray, but actually it's all dark gray. Only the optical illusion, because of the position, the dimension of it, it looks like the topmost is dark gray and the lowermost is like a silvery color. So there's so many facts, the amazing facts about the optic illusions. So how do we protect our eyes now? Okay, simple. Okay, so don't look at your eye health as just your eye. Overall, the holistic approach, the whole body, the whole body. So the first thing is healthy diet, of course, right from the beginning, right from the beginning. Okay, not when you have reached like 30, 40, 50, then you think about healthy diet. No. Okay, so even your kids practice this healthy diet. Okay, once in a way, KFC, McDonald's, okay lah, acceptable, but don't make it as a habit lah. You know, this fast food, this junk food, they are the killers lah. Okay, especially for children. Now in Malaysia, 1 in 4 are obese. I have children coming. My anesthetist keeps complaining. Oh my God, this fellow is 14 years old, but he's 120 kilos. He's got no neck. How am I going to intubate him? Ayo, if he comes for a surgery, it's a nightmare for us. And even for the eye specialist, because once obesity sets in, it will lead to a lot of other problems. Okay, so please install this into your children right from the beginning. Next is the protective eye gears. Sunglasses, no more because of style or whatever. No, this is actually an essential wajib. We have to use sunglasses, okay, because of the ultraviolet rays and so on. Right from the beginning, okay, when your son goes out, you know, okay lah, too much of exposure, not like when they go for playing like 1 hour, okay, or it's fine, but late in the evening, it's fine, not in the hot sun, okay, in the sunlight. Next, if you're a smoker, please say no to smoking, okay, give up, because as I told you, the eye is such a delicate structure. It's sort of, you know, the blood vessels are very, very fine. The blood flow is very important. If you go on smoking, it will cause a lot of blood circulation problem in the eyes and worsen your eye condition. Next is alcohol. And another thing is, do not put off your annual eye examination. Say if you already have a family member of having some problem, please go as early as possible. Don't just keep giving excuses, putting it off, okay? Or if you already have an eye problem, you have to go for the regular check every 3 months. Please religiously stick to that. Okay, next we go on to family history. You have to know your family history of any eye problem.
5 minutes more.
Yeah, okay, I'm finishing, just finishing. This is just the second last. Next, healthy lifestyle. Carry on with your exercises. Okay, and if you are a hypertensive, please control, make sure you take your proper medication. Please go for your regular checkup. Make sure that you optimize your blood pressure. And if you're a diabetic, again, please make sure that it is under control. Many of my patients come in when I say, hey, your eyes got this problem, like diabetic problem. Oh, doctor, my sugar is 5. My fasting blood sugar is 5. I don't have this symptom, that symptom. But when I say, okay, what about your kidney functions? What about your cholesterol? Oh, I don't know. Okay, it's not only your blood sugar. Don't just do the blood sugar or just go to the pharmacy, just do the blood sugar, or you do it at home and you'll be so happy. No, all the other, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your renal function, everything contributes to the problems in the kidney and whatnot, or the diabetic especially. Okay, so please, ladies and gentlemen, love your eyes as you love your life. Probably love your wife, I don't know. Okay, so the 4 P's: prevent, protect, preserve, prioritize. So this is what we want. Prevention, I've already told you how to prevent. Protect, already showed you how are the gear, what gear, how the things to do to protect. Preserve, if you have glaucoma, you have diabetes, already affected your eyes, please follow the doctor's advice to preserve what you have. Don't worsen the condition and prioritize, okay? Pay more attention to the eye, okay? So now with all these facts, I hope you know how important the eye is. I'm not saying the other organs, but such a minute, delicate organ in the body, but the function, okay? So with this, I thank you all. And again, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers for offering me this platform to shed light on health issues many take lightly. Thank you all for your undivided attention, and I will be happy to take questions from the audience if I have time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subhash. That was a very rich, excellent. In fact, can I ask for a virtual round of applause from everybody? We have
thank you.
And while you were talking, we got people joining from Bangladesh, people from Philippines. This has become a global event. You speak with such clarity and passion on this subject. We've got 5 minutes for Q&A. So I'd like to open up the floor. Anybody who would like to ask a question, just go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question.
There's no questions on the chat box as well. I don't see any questions on the chat box.
I will monitor. Yeah, you can even ask in the chat box if you prefer to type your question.
We have Pushpa who put up her hand. There's
okay,
Pushpa.
Please, Pushpa.
Did you raise your hand?
No, I just want to find out just now regarding the cosmetic. Can you hear me?
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Pushpa, I can hear you.
Okay, I was very concerned about the cosmetic that you told me, but I didn't realize that mascara will really affect your eye. But so far I've been using, but I did go for a cataract operation. Is it my cataract was because of that? Now I'm thinking, is it possible?
Usually, thanks for the question. Usually, this mascara will cause ocular surface disorders, okay? Because usually they do not penetrate into the eye. If you really remove the mascara properly, the makeup, especially around the eye, if you really remove them properly before you go to sleep, or, so usually it will cause, mostly it will cause allergic problems, allergic conjunctivitis, or some ocular disorders, like it can affect your tear secretion or so. Cataract is basically, as I told you, mainly in Malaysia, is aging. It's because of the age. Everybody, like how our hair, I don't have much hair, how our hair grays, that is the same thing in our eye. The clarity of the lens becomes cloudy as we age. So that is a normal physiological process. Okay, but your hair, you can dye color, but your cataract, no. So that's why we need to protect with protective gear, so prevent from the sunlight, excessive exposure to sunlight. So that is also another UV. Excessive exposure to UV causes cataract in the long run. Okay, a progression of the cataract will be very soon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
We have a question. Are Polaroid sunglasses better, Dr. Subhash?
Okay, Polaroid, Polaroid now in the sense, because we have like Polaroid glasses, we have sunglasses, we have something called the anti-glare glasses. So it's the requirement of the individual. What is the purpose? Why he wants to, use this particular kind of glasses. So people who are wearing glasses, if they have power, so they sort of can, what we call it is photo gray or photochromatic or transition lens. So you can sort of coat that lens. So you don't need a special clip-ons or so. So you can just tell the optometrist or the optician that to coat the lens so that it's sort of a transition lens. So when you go in the dark, it becomes not like a normal lens. When you go in the dark, it becomes, in the light, it becomes a bit like sunglasses. It's not too dark, but it sort of protects the eye. And many people, they use anti-glare, especially when those, like some cataracts can cause a lot of glare, especially the patients, they come and complain, they say they cannot drive in the night. It's too glaring. So I would advise them, if the cataract is very mild, we just advise them, go to the optician, get an anti-glare glass, okay? So cataract, if you get cataract, it doesn't mean that you have to go and operate immediately. We will see, we will assess according to, is it affecting your lifestyle? So there's so many other factors we consider before we plan for the cataract operation.
Doctor, there's a question asking, the person tends to get sty too frequently, the pus on the eyelid, yeah?
Okay.
Are there any reasons that this could be
Okay.
happening?
Basically, this problem, sty, is actually an infection of the eyelid. So there's one called the sty, that's the infection. The other one is inflammation. We call it chalazion. And basically, when these people come in with recurrent, this kind of infection of the eyelid, okay, so first thing what I would do is ask them whether do they have dandruff. Okay, dandruff is like a staphylococcal infection of the scalp, and then it can sort of spread into the eye. Okay, that is one. Another one is hygiene, your lid hygiene. How do they take care? Okay, many of us, sometimes we just tend to ignore while we are washing face. We don't tend to rub the eyelids and whatnot, especially the ladies who use a lot of makeup around the eye. Okay, so these are all chemicals. In the long run, they accumulate in the lid margin and they clog up the sweat glands and whatnot. And then they're more prone to develop this kind of infection. If somebody in an adult gets this very often, I would suspect diabetes as well.
Okay, we've got a live question from CG Lee. CG, over to you. If you can unmute.
Okay, Dr. Subesh.
Yes,
just
sir.
now you mentioned the steroid eye drop, which is not controlled in Malaysia, especially in Malaysia. So does it mean steroid, meaning this is those eye drop with chemical, or how do we know whether it's steroid or not steroid when we go to a pharmacist? How do we?
Because most of all the drops, they have the composition in the box itself. Okay, so we have like certain drugs known as dexamethasone, triamcinolone. Okay, they have very strong steroids, they have very mild steroids. Okay, the mild steroids, the latest drugs, the very mild steroid, low dose, they tend to the effect on the eyes like glaucoma. What we are worried of steroid drops is, one is glaucoma, the pressure changes in the eye, which can compress the optic nerve and sort of can cause blindness. The other one is cataract formation. So there are many drugs, because when you go to the pharmacy, you just tell them, I've got this red itchy eye. These steroids are wonder drugs. You just use them once, twice, your eyes becomes very clear. Okay, probably the pharmacist will advise you, please do not use this prolonged. Okay, maximum you use for 1 week, 2 weeks. After that, please discard. But what we do, because it's a wonder drug, it sort of clears our our problems very fast. So we tend to use again and again for prolonged. That's when we land up in problems. And please remember, once you open the bottle, the seal, it only lasts for 1 month. Then you have to discard. So don't keep using the same drop for 2-3 months. Try to stinge on the medication. Okay, no. Once it's open, it's they can tend to get infected, because the preservative will only last for probably about 30 days. Then after that, once the preservative goes off, the drug can get contaminated. So steroid drops, so you have to ask the pharmacist, does this contain steroid? If he says yes, then you have to be very careful. I would advise, don't take steroidal eye drops without the ophthalmologist's advice.
And one last question from past Assistant Governor Xavier. Xavier, please unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I did my retina. I had a retina tear almost 5 years ago, and I did my laser, and I still get once in a way cobwebs. What's your advice on this?
Okay. May I ask, sir, how old are you?
64.
64.
Yeah.
And are you a short-sighted person? Were you a short-sighted person?
Yes.
Start glasses very early in life?
No, late.
Later. So did the eye specialist tell you what's the reason for your retinal tear?
She couldn't explain, because she said probably I'm active badminton player.
Any trauma, any injury?
Trauma probably, and
but you cannot remember the injury.
Yeah, I couldn't remember because it was just. But then I used to get these cobwebs very often.
Okay. Cobwebs. Okay, sir. Thank you for the question. Cobwebs is actually, in our medical terms, we say floaters. Okay?
Floaters, yeah.
Yeah, floaters. So in our eye, as I told you, from the front to the back, there was a space in the eye, which is actually known as the posterior cavity. It contains a jelly-like substance called the vitreous. Okay, so
Okay.
actually the vitreous is the one which holds the eye, gives the shape and maintains the shape of the eyeball. Okay,
Right.
so as we age, and this vitreous is actually attached to the retina in certain areas. But as we
Oh.
age, this vitreous gets detached from this retina. Okay, in
Right.
some people it takes gradual. It's very gradual, so it does not cause any problem. Okay, but this vitreous, which is inside the cavity, tends to move. So when you move, you can see that the cobwebs also moving to your, so it sort of follows.
Yes.
That's all it can. So I won't say that it will disappear. You just tend to ignore. After some time, you just tend to ignore. But if this process takes place suddenly, okay, so when it's so drastic, it can pull on your retina and cause a tear or a hole. Okay, so that is known as posterior vitreous detachment. So probably that was too sudden in your eye.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's why it has pulled on your retina and caused the tear. Okay, so if you're seeing floaters, it's quite common, but now you should worry if you start seeing flashes of light. If you see like lightning
yes,
here and there, once in
yes.
a way, okay. But if it's too often, I would advise you to see the eye specialist. Like anybody, better. Floaters, it's actually okay common, but it's better to rule out, see the eye specialist. If it's flashes, urgently you have to see the eye
Yeah,
specialist.
it started with flashes. Correct.
Yeah.
You're right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the question.
I'm afraid due to time, actually, Doctor,
Yep,
there are more questions, but we have run out of time. There is just so much interest in your topic and in the way that you have spoken. As a final round, one more round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm so humble. Thank you.
I think you must come back to one of our district assemblies and address all 3,000 Rotarians. Plus, I don't know how many Lions, plus I don't know how many others, people from all sorts of partner organizations. Dr. Bernard, can we please go to the slides for the second part now?